Hello and welcome to our series of biochemistry, and today we are going to discuss the uses of biochemical data in clinical medicine. I have divided this topic into two main sections, and today we are going to discuss the diagnosis of first section, which is the specific use of biochemical test. In this topic we are going to discuss that how biochemistry is helpful in diagnosis in clinical medicine. So let's give one example of myocardial infarction, and in case in patient that having myocardial infarction, we can measure serum troponin concentrations to identify patient having any heart disease or any heart related problem. So we need to understand that myocardial infarction can also increases atherosclerosis or accelerate the process of atherosclerosis, and it occurs because of the myeloid cells destabilize, as I have highlighted here. So what is actually going on in that we have monocytes, which is an example of myeloid cells that come from the progenitor cells. They enter inside the cell, and then they combine with the help of LDL and oxidize to LDL oxidized form with the help of then cholesterol crystals. Keep in mind that we have inside the cell cholesterol, and LDL is also one of the section of the cholesterol. And what is actually going on, that there is an increase of the myeloid cells in the plaque, and that result in the progression of the plaque. So we need to understand the process, and that is actually responsible for atherosclerosis. So that is going on in this case. So how biochemistry is helpful? If we know about the troponin level, we can also call troponin 1 or serum troponin, and the normal range that has been given by University of Washington Department of Laboratory Medicine is the 0.04 nanogram per ml. But if a patient is having probability of the heart attack, then the range would be above 0.4 nanogram per ml. So troponin level can helpful to diagnose or to identify the disease such as heart attack. But again, the problem arises with the biochemistry that it is difficult to identify the direct etiology of that heart attack, because heart attack could be caused because of the myocardial infarction. Atherosclerosis is also one of the factors, but the exact cause is difficult to diagnose with biochemistry. So as I mentioned in the next slide, that we know that troponin is helpful for diagnosis of a disease which could lead to the heart disease, but the troponin level also rises in other diseases like atrial fibrillation, heart failure, myocarditis, because what troponin level is talking to us, or what troponin level is giving us, is about the heart. There is some rupture of the cells, there is some cells that has been disrupt, their function has been disrupted. It could be maybe of various reasons, as has been given below. So the damage of the heart cells, it could be either the atrial fibrillation or heart failure or myocarditis, or because of the medicine that have been given to the patient, or the other conditions like, for example, in the pulmonary embolism, chronic kidney disease and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. In all these cases there will be a increase of the troponin level. So that's the flaw in biochemistry, that biochemistry does not help you exact cause of a disease. So biochemistry, how can it help you? It could be help you in molecular genetic analysis. For molecular genetic analysis, you need to understand that biochemistry with genetic analysis can help you to observe the characteristics, or can help you to give the biochemical properties of the agent that could be cause the disease. So I mentioned here that phenotypes, we need to understand first that what is phenotype. And phenotype is all the observable characteristics of an organism that result from interaction of its genotypes, which is known as total genetic inheritance with the environment. So when we talk about the phenotype, we always discuss the phenotype with the interaction of the observable characteristics with the genetic characteristics that interact with the environment. So sometimes the external environment, when the external environment interact with the genetics, it could lead to the disease. For example, if you are eating the junk food and excess of cholesterol if you are taking, then this is the environment that you're giving to the body. And plus, if for example your genetic makeup are susceptible to the disease, and because of the inheritance, then these both characteristics can combine to increase the risk of getting the disease early in the life. So I have mentioned about the role of genotype to phenotype mapping because both are linked together, and genotype is the genetic makeup of the cell of the organism or individual, or some specific allele that is maybe inherited from the parents or from the family, whereas phenotype is the observable characteristics, which is a characteristics, trait, morphology, which the morphology could be biochemical. So biochemistry obviously is one of the small section of the phenotype that work with the genotype and may cause the disease or the physiological properties or behavior of the product. So that's the role of that's a mapping of genotype to phenotype that is responsible for getting higher risk of certain diseases, and that's one of the factor is biochemical properties. So when we talk about biochemical property, we will discuss biochemistry and the biochemical parameters such as troponin level to measure if a patient are susceptible to heart attack. So what actually the research is now going on and how they are going on the advanced scale, like for example, if we know the different characteristics like biophysical or biochemical characteristics, along with we use the statistical modeling, so we can use these parameters, biophysical and biochemical parameters, to identify through diagnostic techniques, like for example to diagnose in using MRI, and then are using the analytical methods like for example LCMS, which is known as liquid chromatography, mass spectroscopy, mass spectrometry, or proteomic analysis. So we use the different spectroscopic methods or diagnostic methods to identify the biomarkers and to identify the disease markers that may possible cause the disease, and then that targeted biomarkers, for example troponin C or troponin level or C-reactive protein. These are different biomarkers that can be helpful in diagnosis, especially patients suffering from disease like heart attack or kidney disorders. So it's work with the identification of different biomarkers, and then it also helpful to determine new biomarkers which could be responsible, because the environment is constantly changing, and because of that constantly changing environment, the research is going on to identify and discover new biomarkers that could cause a disease, and that later on it can be helpful in diagnosis. So that's a knowledge, and that's a continuous process, so which could be helpful with the help of liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, or mass spectroscopy, or using NMR as analytical tool to diagnose the biomarkers, and using MRI technique also for identification of the molecules that is responsible for that disease. But what are the problems that biochemical investigations faces? We already discussed a bit like that we cannot identify the accurate cause of a disease or accurate etiology of a disease. For example, I give you that the ischemia could be caused because of the multiple reasons. It could be caused because of the toxin, it could be caused because of the infection, it could be result because of the genetic abnormality or physical agents, for example the radiation or maybe heat or stress, or it could be caused because of the immunological reaction, maybe autoimmune disorder. Toxin or chemicals like could be possible for ischemia. Sometimes drugs are responsible. Infections such as chronic infections can lead to ischemia. So these are the multiple reasons that could cause ischemia. But the exact reason using troponin 1 is not helpful to determine which agent is actually the causative factor, because when we need to treat a patient, the treatment for all these 5 etiologies will be different. It will not be same. The other problems in biochemical investigation is the biochemical variable that can influence more than one type of process. So we need to see the process as well, because sometimes biochemical change can be not only etiology is not linked to etiology, that we may discuss that okay, there are different etiologies of a single disease. So this is one of the reason, but if it is a different process, we cannot able to determine the process. For example, I gave you one example of the patient that having kidney damage. In the healthy kidney, we can see the difference between filtration process. This is a normal healthy kidney, where in the urine there is no proteinuria, there is no protein, whereas in the damaged kidney we have the excess of protein inside, and the filtration is not going normally. So for example, that in different diseases like kidney disease, malnutrition, autoimmune disease, uncontrolled diabetes and liver disease, these all diseases result in low albumin level. So again, it is difficult to identify the albumin, the cause of the albumin level, or cause of the decrease of the albumin level, because this is one of the example where the urine, the proteinuria result in if case of the damage of kidney. So it is difficult to diagnose with biochemical parameters to identify the exact cause of the disease. The third problem in the biochemical investigation is that even with the biochemical change is specific to one condition, it may not indicate its causes, and this may needs to be established before the condition to be treated appropriately. Like I discussed that if we identify that there is a low albumin level in the blood and high proteinuria, or if we identify that there is a increase of a troponin, and that troponin level high inside the blood, then for example in these conditions, these conditions could result with multiple other diseases, and it is not possible to determine the exact etiology of a disease. And if we don't know the exact etiology, then it is not possible to treat the patient appropriately. Like I give you another example of in case of hyperthyroidism, whereas there is an increase of the T3 level in the blood. So that increase of the triiodothyronine in hormone, it could be caused because of the multiple reasons, because hyperthyroidism is caused because of the primary reasons, secondary reasons, and sometimes non-associated with these conditions that given below. So the increase of the hyperthyroidism could be because of the hyperfunctioning of adenoma, or Graves' disease, or multinodular goiter disease, or iodine induced hyperthyroidism, or secondary causes which could be because of the TSH, which is known as thyroid stimulating hormones secreting pituitary adenoma. It is one of the rare conditions, or maybe some of the other conditions that, for example, they mention lymphocytic thyroiditis. For example, it could be caused because of the factitious thyrotoxicosis. So among these all conditions can lead to hyperthyroidism. So it is not possible to diagnose with if we know the biochemical parameters like the increase of the T3 or T4, but it could be possible to give you multiple options that okay, the cause of the thyrotoxicosis is these primary factors or the secondary factors that given, but the exact cause is not possible to diagnose with the biochemical parameters. So these are the problem that we are facing. The other problem with the biochemical diagnostic is, for example, that our organs have the capacity to reserve the bioactives or the compounds, the targeted bioactive molecules inside our body. For example, biomarkers, we are talking about the troponin level, or we're talking about the albumin level. We have, obviously, our body is homeostasis. It is maintained, regulated by different multiple biomarkers that is present inside the blood, and that are present at appropriate level. And that is, if for example that homeostasis, if it disturbed, then it leads to the disease. And in also traditional Chinese medicine, when we talk about TCM, we usually discuss that why disease occur. The question arises, and the answer also in the TCM is that it arises because of the imbalance, and that imbalance of what we call imbalance of the agents that is responsible to balance inside the body. So these organ reserves, the organ is responsible to reserve these metabolites or metabolics or biochemical variables. And then what happens, that if these reserves become depleted or reduced, then there is an imbalance, and then it leads to the disease. That's why when we talk about aging process, with the aging, the organ reserves on metabolic capacities or the biochemical variable decrease with the age. So as the person go old, these metabolites or metabolic biochemical variable decrease, and then it leads to the disease. That's why when you are young, you are not don't face any disease, because you have excess reservoirs. And the research showing that the pancreas, even if the pancreas is 50% or 50 to 80% normal, still it is not diagnosed with biochemical parameters unless the patient lost the 80% of the kidney or 80% of the pancreas, that lead to a disease. Same like a small intestine. If for example someone have malabsorption, the changes in the small intestine is not undetected or not diagnostic with the biochemical parameters. And kidney, same like a kidney, that patient still work with if kidney is working 50% of its efficiency, still it's working as a normal, and still the biochemical parameters are unable to help to diagnose the disease on early stages. So these are the problems that we're facing through biochemical parameters, and these are the limitation of using biochemistry in clinical diagnostics. Later on we will discuss more about the other sections, like we have discussed about the other management and screening of the biochemical test. So thank you so much for today's lecture, and hope to see you again.